Life often tests the kindest souls the hardest. Some people dedicate their lives to caring for others but quietly carry the weight of their own struggles. This story is about a young nurse whose world was falling apart, yet fate had an unexpected surprise waiting for her in the most ordinary place, a small cafe on the corner of the street. Her name was Emily. At 29, Emily had already faced more hardships than many see in a lifetime. She worked long shifts at a local hospital, tending to patients with unwavering compassion. But her own life was far from stable. Her father had passed away years ago, her mother was sick, and Emily was buried under medical bills. The little money she earned was spent on medication for her mother, food for their tiny rented apartment, and transportation to her demanding job. By the end of each week, her pockets were nearly empty. On one particular evening, Emily sat by her bedside table, staring at the few crumpled bills she had left. Only $5 remained, and payday was still a week away. She sighed, pressing her hands to her tired face. It had been a long day at the hospital. She had held the hand of an elderly man who passed away without family by his side. She had comforted a frightened child crying after surgery. She had done everything possible to be strong for others, but now, when she looked at herself, she felt so small and broken. Her best friend Sarah had been begging her to take a break from work and from all the sadness she carried. "Emily, you deserve a little happiness," Sarah had said the week before. "You can't keep pouring from an empty cup. You need someone who will care for you the way you care for everyone else." Reluctantly, Emily had let Sarah set her up on a blind date. She didn't expect much. She didn't even have the money to go out. But Sarah insisted. "Don't worry about it. Just show up. Maybe the universe will surprise you." The day of the date arrived, and Emily almost canceled. She opened her wallet and saw only that one $5 bill. It was all she had left for the week. But deep down, she felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could allow herself one small moment of normalcy. She decided to go. Emily walked into the cafe where the date was arranged. It was warm and cozy, filled with the smell of freshly baked pastries and coffee. She glanced around nervously, clutching her small purse. She didn't even have enough to order a meal, only a drink. She walked to the counter and smiled politely at the barista. "Just a small tea, please," she said, handing over her last $5. The barista gave her the warm cup, and Emily held it like it was a treasure. She found a small table in the corner and sat down, her heart pounding as she waited for her blind date. She wondered what kind of man he would be. Would he even show up? Minutes later, a tall man in a navy blue suit walked in. He had a calm confidence about him, yet his smile was warm and genuine. He scanned the room, then walked straight toward her. "Emily?" he asked softly. She nodded, surprised. "Yes, that's me." He sat down across from her, and for a moment, she forgot about her worries. His name was Daniel. He looked nothing like the men she had briefly dated in the past. He wasn't flashy, and he didn't boast. Instead, he carried himself with humility, his eyes filled with kindness. They began to talk, and Emily found herself laughing, something she hadn't done in a long time. Daniel asked about her life, and she admitted she was a nurse. She didn't go into details about her financial struggles, but she spoke about her patients, her passion for helping people, and the small joys she found in everyday moments. Daniel listened intently. He wasn't like others who quickly changed the subject when she spoke about her work. He admired her dedication and told her how rare it was to meet someone who gave so much without expecting anything in return. As the evening went on, Emily felt a pang of guilt. She knew she couldn't afford to order more than the tea in front of her, so when Daniel asked if she wanted something to eat, she politely shook her head. "No, I'm fine, thank you," she said, sipping her drink to hide her embarrassment. What Emily didn't know was that Daniel was not just an ordinary man. He was the CEO of the very cafe they were sitting in. He had built the chain from the ground up, starting with nothing but a dream and a small loan. He knew what it was like to struggle, to wonder where the next meal would come from. And when he saw Emily gently guarding her cup of tea, he instantly recognized that quiet battle. At the end of their conversation, Daniel offered to walk her home. Emily hesitated but agreed. As they stepped into the cool night air, she felt strangely safe beside him. They reached her modest apartment building, and she thanked him shyly. "Emily," Daniel said gently, "can I see you again?" Her heart skipped. No one had asked her that in such a long time. She smiled, though her eyes betrayed the fear of hope. "Yes," she whispered. From that day forward, their connection grew. Daniel never revealed his true identity right away. He wanted Emily to know him as a man, not as a CEO. He admired her strength, her resilience, and the way she gave so much of herself despite having so little. Emily, on the other hand, was drawn to Daniel's kindness. He didn't judge her, didn't pity her. He simply listened, laughed with her, and reminded her that she was more than her struggles. Weeks later, Daniel finally told her the truth. They were sitting in the same cafe when he took her hand and said, "Emily, there's something you should know. This cafe, it's mine. I built it years ago, and now it's grown into a company. I didn't tell you before because I wanted you to see me for who I am, not what I have." Emily was stunned. She stared at him, her mind spinning. She thought of her last $5, spent on that cup of tea, and how embarrassed she had felt. And now, here she was, sitting across from the man who owned it all. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Why me? You could have anyone, someone who isn't." She paused, unable to say the word, poor. Daniel squeezed her hand gently. "Because you're real, Emily. Because you care when no one else does. You've given your life to help others, even when you had nothing for yourself. That kind of heart is worth more than anything money can buy." From that moment, Emily's life began to change. Daniel didn't shower her with riches or sweep her away into luxury. Instead, he supported her dreams. He helped her mother get the medical care she desperately needed. He encouraged Emily to rest, to find balance, and to believe in herself again. Emily continued to work as a nurse, but now she did it without the heavy shadow of financial despair. And every evening, when she returned home, Daniel was there, waiting with the same warmth and kindness that had captured her heart from the very first day. Her last $5 had seemed like the end of her world. But in truth, it was the beginning of a love story that proved sometimes fate hides the biggest blessings in the smallest moments. And so, the nurse who thought she had nothing discovered that she had everything she ever needed, all because she chose hope, walked into a cafe, and unknowingly sat across from the man who would change her life forever. Sparkle's word count, approximately 1,605. Would you like me to also make a SEO optimized YouTube description plus 5 image prompts for this story, like I did before, so your video ranks better and gets more clicks?